Picture a kid sitting at a table. He's playing with Play-Doh, pulls out a blue lump, sits it on the table, splits it apart. Now you have two lumps of Play-Doh, and from then on out, you can shape them however you want. Now let's take two kids with two different colors, let's say blue and green. They pull them out, shape the Play-Doh. It's two different colors of Play-Doh, shaped the same way, just like before. But the first example, it came from the same source. That's an example of identical twins and fraternal twins. Identical twins will start out as one thing and then separate. Fraternal twins start out as two separate things and then go on their own way.
And that's basically how we became identical twins, but we didn't figure it out until we turned 30 years old. And most of our lives we lived telling people we were fraternal because that's all we knew. They told our mom we were fraternal twins, but we looked very, very similar, very identical. Everyone would tell us as we were growing up, no, your doctor was wrong. Your doctor was lying. It's like, and we'd always say, well, unless our doctor was lying, we were fraternal. So it was this like running joke our entire lives. And then Randy, you ran into a coworker when you were 30, right?
Yeah. She said she was an identical twin.
And
yep.
And she didn't figure out till later in life, and they did a DNA test and told us about there's a circumstance with identical twins where they're mislabeled as fraternal because they start out in the same sac but separate, and then it seems like they're in two different sacs, and it seems like they look kind of fraternal, but so they just say it's fraternal, but a lot of doctors didn't know this apparently back in the 80s. So
yeah, and about 25 to 30% of twins split so early that they develop their own, like they develop their own sacs, but they also develop their own like placentas. I was reading, and so then people just assume they're fraternal twins. And so yeah, I think that might have been like the most famous post we had on Facebook probably of all time. People's like, I knew it.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did a DNA test to make sure, and it came back 99.9% match.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, like 99.9999 like 7 or something along those lines. I remember it being it costs like $175, but it's the first question I ask any twins and anybody who has twins. That's what I ask, is like, hey, did you actually get it tested or not? Because I highly suggest you actually get tested for it. But yeah, that's funny. I use that tagline that of our video, I'm an identical twin, but I didn't find out until I was 30 years old. And everybody starts assuming that you were like lost twins and you found each other.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Didn't know you had a twin.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, everybody like kind of freaks out and like, what? So people maybe who are watching this may arrive at that same conclusion. But yeah, like one of the things with twins is one famous question like people always ask is like, it runs in the family. There's this thing that like, oh, it runs in the family. It's on the mother side. And so like that's with fraternal twins, runs in the family. And fraternal twins run in the family, plus they rise with maternal age, so like the mother's age, and then they and then they occur like at a decent frequency worldwide. But like identical twins, they don't run in families. It's basically has just remained a mystery. Like science can't explain it. And there was like a 22/4 review. We can put it in the show notes, where it's this academic research paper that basically the conclusion was it's just remained a mystery.
Yeah,
identical
it's
twins.
just like random, right? Yeah, it's just a
Hmm.
random fact of nature that happens.
So there's one thing I found that showed that there's some there's a specific IVF that's increased it, and it's called like blastoist stage transfer, whatever the hell that means, in
Hmm.
IVF, and it's actually increased identical twins are more common. I don't know what the frequency is. Um,
Because I know fraternal is a lot more common with the IVF stuff,
yeah,
but I didn't know that there was a certain one that identical twins increased as well.
yeah,
That's
according to
interesting.
the data I was looking at. And then
Interesting.
another thing usually people ask, well, you kind of think about is like, is the DNA like exactly the same? And because you start as one fertilized egg, a sperm and an egg fertilized, and then you split. But there's actually a slight difference. Like with people, with strangers, are 3.2 million DNA letters different, but identical twins are only 5. So whatever 3.2 million minus 5 are, that's the difference between strangers and identical twins, and so there is a difference, even in identical twins, but it's only 5 out of 3.2 million. So there is like obviously 3.18 million similarities or whatever that number is. Yeah,
One of the most common questions we've got in our entire lives: can we read each other's minds?
yeah, yeah,
What do you think, Ryan?
yeah. That one's. I think with identical twins, well, after listening to telepathy tapes, anything's possible even
Yeah.
outside of identical twins. But I think with identical twins, it's more of like if you're around someone so much, you you start to communicate in nonverbal ways, and and you understand each other in a deep way, where it's just like your subconscious um, is already like picking up on it before you even can, and so then you're like, what each other are thinking in a subconscious, unknowing way, but it's happening. That's happened frequently between us, where you know when I first met Tina, and she would always give me shit because like we would be in a group setting, and I would look at you, and I would try to be explaining something, nobody would know what I was talking about, and I would look at you. I would always just look at you for like reassurance,
Yeah.
and you would always know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just we know how to read each other's body language a lot easier than other folks. And then you're in the same environment for what, 26 years straight.
In the same room.
So, and then go through the exact same thing. Uh, so we developed the same neuroses we've been figuring out after
Yeah,
reading books about neuroses and psychological stuff and the subconscious. Like, so we have very similar neuroses. We have the environments were all the same. So you run into these same things. So you develop similar opinions, you develop similar habits, behaviors, beliefs, systems, all that. And then when you're really good friends, you just share everything. And so just like any close friend, you're sharing all the things. But yeah, when it comes to telepathy, like I think that's a skill that we used to all have, and then we kind of
yeah,
unlearned it over the years. And yeah, just watch the telepathy tapes and you'll
yeah,
understand more there. And but hey, we're only 40. We turned 40 this year, so we still have a lot of time to learn it.
yeah, exactly. Another crazy thing that we found out is with iPhones. When iPhones came out with Face ID, we're able to unlock each other's phones with our face. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
But now when we actually have fingerprint unlock, and we can't with our new minimal phones, we can't unlock each other's phones. So
that
that's a
was
fun fact.
yeah. A couple other random things. One of the like I would say, people always ask, do we ever switch places or fool people or
Yeah,
trick girlfriends? Nothing like super serious and long. It's been just to mess with teachers here and there in high school and with
yeah,
girlfriends in college, but for like nothing sexual, just like brief,
Half a second. Yeah.
yeah, brief messing
Yeah.
around. So that's always fun. The biggest perk I would say is it, our perk and kind of annoyance to other people was we were kind of like a circus booth. We were at like a booth at a circus. We were in a fraternity, and
Hmm.
it was kind of a perk to us because girls would always want to take pictures with us, and then the joke would be, "Oh, come see the identical twins. We're at the booth next to the bearded lady right here." So we would
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
everyone would always want to
Yeah.
take pictures with us, which was an advantage in college, for sure.
Yeah. Small talk. It's like an easy small talk. Like, are you twins?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. 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 That was
One
a good one.
one question that came up, Rand, was there ever any jealousy when one twin got more attention or success or dated girls? What would be your answer?
Yeah. I, I don't think there was. Uh, of course, there may be been some, but I don't have any recollection of any like jealousy. It was almost like we're an extension of each other, weirdly. To be like, there was like no jealousy. Like I wanted you to like achieve success as much as I'm achieving success, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so there was no jealousy there. It was almost like if you're doing something successful, or then I'm an extension of that, and that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
how like my brain processed it in our entire lives. Even like I remember like wrestling in high school, we'd be wrestling each other, and like I didn't want to like. There's rare occasions where like I didn't want to put it like I wasn't wrestling you like I would a stranger. You know, like I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to beat the hell out of you and like pin you as fast as I can and all my strength. It was more like I didn't want you to lose. You know.
Yeah. 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 For sure. I have the exact same feedback and response. Yeah, it was like an extension of me wanted you to do well. I can't remember any instance with dating or anything or sports or school grades or whatever where I was jealous for an instant. Uh,
Yeah. And I'd be curious what our parents would say, like at age 4 or 3 or 5 or 6. You know what I mean? If
yeah,
that was the case then.
that would be an interesting question. Probably, maybe, as we have kids, they get a little jealous of each other.
Because there's the sibling rivalry thing. It's as old as the Bible and whatnot. So I'm gonna ask mom and dad next time I talk to them.
Yeah, two other things that came up for questions, and it was what's it like dating? What was dating like as an identical twin? I don't think it was too much. One thing I thought of was like I've thought of in the past would be like, since we do look so like, if circumstances had been changed just a tiny bit, would our significant others would have fell in love with us in a similar way?
Yeah. I
They would
remember.
say no, but
Yeah. One thing that came to mind with me was like we used to before like the age of iPhone and all that, we used to share the same phone, and that was a pain in the ass in dating.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
uh, that's what came to mind.
yeah. And then this one I think we'll have a solid answer, and we could probably wrap it up on it. Was do we ever resent sharing an identity growing up, or did it help or like hurt our individuality as we grew up?
Definitely not resent. Um, I don't think it affected individuality, but there were some cons being twins. And like I remember, like you get drunk and do something stupid, and then it's like we both did it. It's like the twins did it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was definitely a con.
That was even when we were younger. One of us broke a neighborhood window. It was both of us. It wasn't
Yeah,
just one of us.
yeah,
So it was like
yeah.
constantly,
Gibson brothers.
yeah. So two times the amount of destruction. So
Hmm.
it would just we would look bad. We would look more bad to the society and the fraternity or whoever else. And there was a couple instances in college where you got in trouble because I was making out with a girl and someone saw me and your girlfriend, and
Yeah,
they told on you.
you.
They
Yeah,
told your girlfriend on you, but it was actually
yeah.
me who was single at the time. So that kind
That's
of ran into
funny.
a couple of instances.
There's many cases like popular like cases where like someone like murdered someone, or like there's rape cases and they couldn't for so like most of the DNA era, like identical twins created like this loophole in like forensic science, and I think they've since and kind of like they found some ways around it now, but like they couldn't truly prove who did it. So
Mm,
like there's one of these men, but we don't know which one. And then like some of them would use that loophole to get around it, or it would like stall the prosecution case for like a long time.
mm.
There was
Same
like
for
a 19.
paternity too. Like paternity
Yeah, that's a
cases.
good
Yeah,
one. That's a good
yeah,
one.
I
That's a good
saw
one.
it.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's a wrap.
wrap it up. Yeah.
That's what it is being feeling like identical twins.
If you have any other questions, just put it in the comments. We'll try to answer them best we can.
Exactly.
Later.